Nurses literally make some of the best entrepreneurs that I've ever seen, and also some of the worst. And the difference between the two has nothing to do with talent, intelligence, or how hard they can work. It's something much deeper. I left nursing about 5 years ago. That same year, I got into entrepreneurship. Still in entrepreneurship to this day, and it has been completely life-changing. When I first got into entrepreneurship, I was one of the nurses who wasn't considered a good entrepreneur, but luckily I was able to rebuild myself from the inside out, rebuild my strategy when it came to how I approached entrepreneurship so that I didn't burn out. So if you're a nurse who's been constantly thinking about leaving nursing, or if you want to build something outside of nursing and you want to build another stream of income, you want to start your entrepreneurship journey, by the end of this video, you're going to know how to avoid the mistakes that I made when I first became an entrepreneur. So nurses make some of the best entrepreneurs because number one, nurses are literally trained to be problem solvers. We are trained to learn how to critically think from nursing school all the way in, like all the way throughout nursing when you actually work as a nurse. And a lot of times nurses do very well under pressure without panicking or like freaking out. And you diagnose a situation or what needs to be done, you're able to prioritize. Remember those ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation, like you're able to prioritize life or death situations. And I'm not comparing entrepreneurship to life or death, but there are so many ups and downs and twists and turns and all types of directions that happen when you get into entrepreneurship. Not saying that to discourage you, because entrepreneurship is one of the most beautiful journeys that I've ever gotten into. But it does come with some unknowns. It does come with some risk, and it comes with some problem solving and being able to assess and critically think when it comes to what it is that you're building. That alone makes nurses great entrepreneurs, but it's so many other things. I'm just going to run down the list. You are able to take control. You are able to calmly educate your patients, educate their family members, whether a patient is upset with you or family members are upset. Like, you have that professional communication style. Nurses are literally trained to think deeply, to communicate deeply, to educate, and to understand what your patients actually need, the things beneath the surface that are really going on. And when I tell you that that is marketing in itself, you already have the skills. And I love to talk about how nursing trained you to be a nurse, but that's not the only thing that these skills that you picked up from being a nurse are good for. Side by side, if you put nursing next to entrepreneurship, the skills that you got from nursing literally transfer right over into entrepreneurship. Another skill that you picked up in nursing that makes you great for entrepreneurship, you improvise. If you've ever worked in a hospital or family care practice or something like that, like a lot of times you don't have access to the specific resources that you need. But what do? You troubleshoot and you figure it out. In entrepreneurship, like that's a part of the journey. You get to diagnose what you're creating, what you're building, what's working, what's not working, what you need to add in, when you need to pivot, when you need to mix it up. You figure out what ingredients you got to sprinkle in there in order to make the recipe work. And another thing that makes you good for entrepreneurship is the authority that you've built up within your identity as a nurse. People respect nurses. People respect the profession of nursing, right? People think of you as credible. They think of you as trustworthy. Still to this day, even though I walked away from nursing, like I still have people asking me questions about like medical things or what my opinion is on what it is that they think they should do. And I'm just like, but yeah, people find that credibility within you. So that alone gives you the authority that you need, that transfers over beautifully to entrepreneurship. Because when you start building something, you start creating something, you have to figure out how to gain that confidence and authority in what it is that you're teaching your audience, whatever it is that you're teaching about, whatever it is that you're selling, whatever it is that you're building. And your audience sees you as the authority, as the person that can really help them. And in entrepreneurship, when you're building income, when you're building a business, it's really important to build up the KLT factor, which is the know, like, trust factor. So the people that you are selling to have to know you, like you, and trust you. You being a nurse in itself, like, you are somebody who was trained to be known, to be liked, to be trusted. So you already winning. And one of the last things that I want to talk about that make nurses great for entrepreneurship, that would make you great for entrepreneurship, is the fact that you know how to connect with people on a deeper level. You know how to be there for people. You know how to show up for people when they're literally in their worst moments. when they're literally not feeling like themselves. And this is perfect when it comes to whoever you decide to serve in your entrepreneurship journey and whatever it is that you're building or creating. That empathy is in you. So it goes with you wherever you go. It helps you build the loyal audience and community that you need when you get into entrepreneurship. The community that exists that's out there for you specifically of like-minded people. Now we're going to shift a little bit. Let's talk about why some nurses make the worst entrepreneurs until they do what I'm going to talk about. So one of the things, the first thing off the bat is that they bring their burnout habits, that hustle culture, that burnout culture from nursing, they bring it into their business. And they build off of that as their foundation. Because right now, that might be all you know. You might be used to picking up overtime all the time and working until you're exhausted and feeling terrible and dreading your day and like all of those things. Maybe you're a nurse who works 12-hour shifts like I did. For me, I know a lot of times I wasn't able to take a break. I wasn't able to eat dinner until like the very last minute. Maybe I wasn't even able to eat sometimes at all. I had to like hold my urine. Our body, our mind remembers these things. We get so used to them that we think that they're normal. We see so many other nurses and healthcare professionals doing the same thing. And a lot of times we take that into entrepreneurship, the sense of pride that comes with working hard. You start to grind in your business like you've been grinding in nursing. You're working 14, 20-hour days on your business, pushing yourself to, even though you're depleted. When it comes to working hard, when it comes to hustling, when it comes to, burnout and all of these things that I mentioned, when you're aware of it, only then can you change it. And if you don't intentionally rebuild yourself from the inside out, if you don't intentionally heal from the burnout and the things that made you get burned out in the first place, the type of the personality traits, the habits, behaviors, and patterns within you that make you susceptible to burnout, then you're going to just take that with you everywhere you go. And I talk about this all the time because it's so real, and it's because it's exactly what I did when I started my first couple of businesses. Fresh out of nursing, I went into Airbnb, burnt myself out. I went into online business, burnt myself out because I was working from that hustle culture mentality and that burnout mentality, those habits. I brought all of that into my business without me even realizing what was happening. It took me doing that and looking for answers about like why I was the way I was in order to really change things, to become an entrepreneur who is regulated. Okay. Because I wasn't always this way, and it was a journey to get here. And that's why I like to talk about it openly. Another thing that makes nurses some of the worst entrepreneurs is the people-pleasing tendencies, the not having boundaries, the over-giving and over-delivering until you're depleted. Those things cannot go with you into your entrepreneur journey, point blank, period. If you want to have a successful business, if you want to feel good in your business, if you want to build something that does not burn you out, if you want to build something that you don't resent later, if you want to build something that makes you feel regulated, you have to learn to heal those patterns, the people pleasing, the no boundaries, the over delivery, because again, you bring those things into your entrepreneur journey if they are not addressed. And a huge one that make nurses some of the worst entrepreneurs is that they feel like they have to struggle in order to be successful. They feel like if they're not working hard, if they're not struggling, if they didn't work hard to get to whatever it is that they want to achieve, then it's not worth it. When I tell you it's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap. Feeling like you have to struggle to get your success is a trap that a lot of us fell for. I fell for it too. If you want a business that feels easy, if you want an entrepreneur journey that feels more like you, that feels like a version of success that doesn't hurt you or that doesn't burn you out, you got to show up differently. You have to rewire your mind. You have to rewire all those beliefs that make you feel like your worth is tied to how hard you can work. Another one that I see that make nurses some of the worst entrepreneurs is the fact that you shrink what you really want, like you shrink your desires because you choose like the quote unquote stability of the nursing career over you building something outside of nursing, over the abundance that is really available to you, over the big dreams that you have access to. A lot of nurses get stuck in the burnout and they dig themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of nurse burnout. They want to build something outside of nursing. They keep telling themselves they want to build something outside of nursing, but they never get around to it because they're choosing this quote unquote stability which is, I say quote unquote, because you're working so hard in nursing for this lifestyle that you have, but you're not able to enjoy that lifestyle. You can't even enjoy your life with the people that you really care about. That's not stability. So nurses get caught in this trap of choosing the stability or what they were taught was successful over their true desires. And so they shrink themselves. They dim their light. They don't have confidence to really go after the thing they want to go after and build the thing that they want to build. I'm telling you, it's deep. It's deep. And the last, well, it's many more, but one of the last things that makes nurses some of the worst entrepreneurs is that they undervalue what they know. They undervalue their skills. They undervalue their ability to really help people in a different way, to help people outside of the traditional route of nursing. And so they undercharge and they end up working twice as hard. So I lied. It's one more. The last thing that I want to talk about that makes nurses some of the worst entrepreneurs is waiting until everything is perfect to execute on an idea. I've been guilty of this several times throughout my entrepreneurship journey. It has a lot to do with how nursing has shaped you, right? How nursing has shaped us. You know, as a nurse, you have to, like, you gotta get things right. You have to almost be perfect, or somebody's life is at stake. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with that role. So a lot of times nurses bring that into their entrepreneurship journey, into whatever business it is that they're building. They let the idea that it needs to be perfect stall them or stop them from really executing what they need to execute. And the perfectionism is embedded deeply into your mind. And so you think that if you make a mistake in business, or if you don't create the right thing, or if you don't have everything executed in a perfect way, then you're wrong. But the difference between nursing and entrepreneurship is that, you know, nursing gives you these certain guidelines and things that you have to follow, you have to hit. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's all about implementing, pivoting, readjusting, learning along the way, strategizing, making sure you come up with a strategy and a business plan that doesn't burn you out, figuring out what needs to be done in order to get you to your goal. But it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. It's an illusion that we've been tricked into. I know the perfectionist habits, the perfectionist tendencies. I know. Okay. I'm a recovering perfectionist. But when you take that into entrepreneurship, it keeps you playing small. It keeps you feeling stuck. It keeps you not feeling confident in yourself and what it is that you have to offer. You don't have to wait for perfection, because it's never going to come, number one. And a lot of times people wait to feel ready, but ready is a decision, it's not a feeling. So you just got to execute, you got to implement, you have to try new things, you have to be creative, reiterate, readjust when you need to, but the thing has to get created, because you can't just continue relying solely on nursing as your only stream of income. Not in today's world, not in today's society. You need to have something that you've built, something from you, for you, something that you've created that has your blueprint, your personality, your passions, the things that you love baked into it. In order to either go from the nurse who would make the worst entrepreneur into the nurse who makes the best type of entrepreneur, it takes inner work. It takes rewiring your mind, your mental programming, your belief systems. It takes being consciously aware of your actions, what you're creating in your reality, in your world. It takes self-awareness, and it takes understanding that entrepreneurship is a personal development journey in itself, period. So if you start your entrepreneurship journey, just be ready to be better, to improve yourself, to work on yourself, because it happens simultaneously. It's just a part of the process. So if you're a nurse who wants to start rebuilding your identity outside of nursing, you want to start building something outside of nursing, you want to start your entrepreneur journey, build some streams of income. And if you want to start healing from the burnout and all those patterns that you picked up in nursing so that you don't take those things into your entrepreneur journey, make sure you subscribe. That's what this channel is all about. That's been my journey of going from a burnt out nurse to a regulated entrepreneur. I'm giving you the tea, okay? So make sure you join the community and let me know in the comments what you want to start building for yourself outside of nursing. What are some thoughts? What are some ideas that you've been having that you feel like you want to start, but you've been afraid to, or you think it's too much or not enough? All the chatter going on in your head don't matter. Just drop in the comments what you've been thinking about building.